Hey everybody, this is Erica Sabo. Welcome back to another one of my weekly vlogs. Let's see what's been going on this week. Alright, so in terms of gaming, there's a lot. There's actually a lot to talk about. Not just, pickups or things related to videos I released this week, but some bigger issues too that I will get into. But I'm gonna start with something light. Yeah, I just released my top 10 female video game characters, part 1. Part 2 is going to be coming up this coming week. I'm thinking Wednesday probably. Super stoked for that. It took me a really long time to get that together. Any kind of top list like that takes a really long time. But I'm really pleased with the turnout for part 1, and I'm really looking forward to part 2. I do feel kind of bad because I did limit myself to only 10. There were a lot of really amazing characters that I had to leave out, which is kind of a bummer. There's a lot that I know you guys are gonna be like, I can't believe you didn't include this character, but that's kind of the point of this list, is that I gotta pinpoint who those people are and prioritize, right? I should have done an honorable mentions though. I actually did not do that. I feel like I could dedicate an entire video to an honorable mentions though. So I might do that in the following week. I don't know, who knows? I don't know how much I want to spread this thin, you know what I mean? So I don't know if I necessarily want to do that. But yeah, so I have that coming up. I also got some games from my friend Adam that did I tell you guys about this last week? I feel like this is total deja vu. Anyways, whatever, I really don't care. I gotta show you anyways because I'm like so happy about this. But oh wait, I think I did talk about this last week. Did I? Yeah, actually I did, never mind. Okay, so we're not gonna talk about that because I am loopy today. Woo, okay. So I did actually want to tell you about a little bit more about this book that I've been reading, and a book that I showed you last week, and that is video game storytelling. Now I showed you guys this last week saying that, oh, I'm in the middle of reading this and I'm not done with it, so I can't really speak for it. But I gotta say, now that I'm done with it, I really enjoyed it. I like putting bookmarks, clearly. I love these little stickies. I buy these from Dollarama and they're just like the best thing ever because they're not paper, they're almost like plastic, so they can't bend and they're great. So yeah, let me move some stuff around here first so I'm not like all out of it. But yeah, I actually got this book from Penguin Random House's PR team. I was really impressed by it. I'm just so like ecstatic that they sent this to me, and I think that Evan Skolnick did a really great job with this book. It does generalize the idea of video game storytelling, but right now it's very relevant to me because the game development studio that I'm working with, I'm actually working on a project where I am making a game. This company focuses on interactive fiction, so this storytelling is clearly a very important part of all of this. And this book is not only great for offering you tips and fundamentals for things that you should know in terms of storytelling and things that you should keep in mind when creating a story and creating a fluid story at that, but it also tells you about the relationship dynamics between other people on the team, whether that's programmer, QA, director, creative director, anyone like that. It kind of explains and offers strategies for those relationship dynamics and how they should be treated and how the storyteller should be treated on the team, because they're oftentimes neglected. We've had way too many games where narrative has been put on the back burner, or things fall short, you know what I mean? So this was a really great book for that. It's not, like it's not the be-all end-all by any means, is what I'm trying to say here, but I can tell you that it is really great if you are looking for fundamentals. If you're looking for a really good resource book, this is it. This is it. This is a book that I'm going to keep in my office just so I can always have on me. I have another book like that too, because there's also something else I have been doing in terms of game development, something that I'm doing to expand my role with the team, and that is learning Python. Python is a really great programming language to start with. I gotta say, it's a really great intro, and it's fairly easy to learn so far. I've been learning it through Code Academy, and I'm really loving it. And I bought a little Python Pocket reference book. This is the cutest thing ever. So this is another thing I keep in the studio. I just brought it home with me because I wanted to show you guys how cute this little thing is. So I'm still in the middle of learning, right? So, geez, my phone is just going off like crazy. Oh my god. Who is contacting me? Okay, anyway, I think it's Twitch, to be honest. But yeah, no, this book is really great, although, you know, I'm still in the middle of learning Python, so I don't know everything, you know, at this point. Like, there's still stuff I'm learning in terms of the syntax and just a lot. There's a lot I'm learning right now. But overall, it's going to be very useful for me. I know it's going to be. And after I'm done learning this through Code Academy and then probably Khan Academy as well, like my friend said, if I want more fundamentals to learn through there, or maybe I'll buy more books. I love reading. No idea. Lately, I've been on a total reading binge. But, you know, this is really great for one of those little references at work. After this, I'm going to be learning C#, which I'm very excited for, and then I'm going to, well, I'm also learning different software too, like RenP for creating interactive fiction, as well as Twine. Although I like the idea of RenP because of the fact that, like, there is some coding involved, very minimalist coding, very Python-esque coding, but Twine doesn't have any of that. However, I don't mind the idea of using a language to, I don't know, to better articulate what I'm trying to do. So I'm using both right now for a particular project I'm working on. I've mentioned this briefly on my you know, Twitter and stuff like that, but I've been teasing about how I'm working on a game right now, and that's like a little experiment on my part. Jesus, seriously. It's like my phone wants to like take over this video. But yeah, it's been a really great journey. It's been really fun so far. So I'm yeah, I'm really enjoying this a lot, and I can't wait to learn more. I really can't. So what else do I have that I need to do? Or I need to talk about? Oh my god. Okay, so it's this guy who's like messaging me on Facebook, and it's like, dude, why didn't I put my phone in airplane mode? Like, I want to be upset with you, but I can't. So yeah, so on top of Python and then soon C#, I'm also learning 2D motion graphics from Adobe After Effects. I'm seriously, dude, oh my god, I'm gonna need to talk to this guy. But yeah, so I'm gonna embarrass him so much when I tell him this though. Oops. But yeah, so yeah, I'm learning 2D motion graphics as well, and I'm really, it's really fun, and I'm just learning the fundamentals of it right now. I'm doing a lot of like YouTube tutorials, but it's been really great, so I'm really enjoying it. But yeah, so aside from that, I did want to go into something a little bit more on the serious side, and that is talking about the Nintendo Creator Program. That is something that has caused a lot of controversy this week, and something that I talked about in depth the other day on Twitter, and I talked about on my personal Facebook page as well, something that I think a lot of us need to deal with right now, and a lot of us need to express, and we need to see what the big picture is here. I think a lot of people just don't understand or don't see what the big picture is here, because there is a very big problem, and that problem is in abuse of power. So just to give you some details as to what's going on, I'm going to give you a little bit of personal experience with this as well. So every Nintendo related review I have released on this channel has been claimed by Nintendo, meaning that I don't get any sort of revenue from it. The monetization goes strictly to them. This has been a problem with Nintendo for a while now, and a lot of people have had issues with that, and a lot of people have complained about it, whether or not you are just a Let's Player or you are offering like professional journalistic reviews like I am, you know, like I've been working as a journalist since like a video game journalist since 2009, late 2009. So it, you know, this is a really big deal for me because this is like my career choice, and to have this kind of stuff happening and to take away my freedom to be able to just express how I feel about a game and to, you know, provide a review about a game and not, you know, not be able to monetize it just seems off, seems very off. So Nintendo decided to launch this creator program. You think it would be a great idea because it offers you a chance to get your content monetized. However, the problem with this is the fact that they take between 30 to 40% of the cut. That's a big problem. That's already a big problem right there, knowing that they're taking part of it. They're like, okay, well, you get to keep some of it, but we're still gonna take some of it too. You know, some people say, well, that's better than nothing. And yes, you can say that. If you really want to simplify the issue, you can say that, yes. On the surface, this is really not that big of a deal. They're at least offering you something. However, the thing is when you start thinking about this problem, it's more about the fact that they're trying to charge you for your opinions on the games you're talking about or the games you're offering coverage for or whatever, right? There is fair use. Fair use is something that is often neglected, something that's that people tend to override, like big companies tend to override, even though there is fair use involved. Like in my content, not only am I providing the video coverage, you know, like the you know, captures from the game themselves, but I am offering commentary over top of that. I'm offering music. I'm providing something more than just the video itself, yet I am still being penalized for it as a reviewer, as someone who is part of the media, someone who is provided assets, like video assets for these games that I'm reviewing, yet all of my privileges are being taken away in the end by Nintendo. It doesn't matter if I talk to the PR, they don't know what to do. There's nothing they can do because it's Nintendo who runs this. It's Nintendo who makes these kinds of decisions. The reason why I say 30 to 40% is because it depends on how willing you are to give yourself up to this program. If you're willing to give up your entire channel to this program, then you get more money for the videos that you release. However, if you do it by a case-by-case basis, that's video by video, then you get less money. That's off as well. That's very off. That does not feel right. Not only that, but we also have an issue here where they are regulating what is allowed and what is not allowed. So let's say if you provide a negative review of one of their games, then they may decide that they don't want that monetized. So imagine, if you were to give up your entire channel to this program, who knows how hard it is to even get out of this program. This could be as hard as getting out of a network. A YouTube network, which don't even get me started. I don't even want to talk about that. It's very difficult, but there's obviously like probably like contracts involved and stuff like that, and that's like you selling your soul in a way. It's one of those things where is it really worth it to you? You have your own sense of self-preservation here, and some people think this is instant gratification. This is going to be great, but I think in terms of long-term, this is a really bad strategy because this is creating like a dictatorship over people's freedom of voice on YouTube, and that's a big no-no. If you look at things on the business side, or if you look at things just in the sense of freedom and the kinds of freedoms we should be offered, this is a problem. You know, I know some people will say, and this is a very common argument against YouTubers who are against this program, a lot of people tend to say things like, oh, well, you're just spoiled. You're just money-grubbing YouTubers who aren't happy with what you do, even though like basically everybody else is just totally jealous of you and you're doing this and you're complaining. Like, what's your problem? Like, what exactly is the problem here? If a company if this is a company's product, then they should be able to take it. It's like, okay, so You are telling me, in this case, you're actually telling me, let's say the brands I'm wearing, I'm wearing, what is this, like Forever 21 shirt? This means that Forever 21 owns me. That's what you're trying to tell me right now. That's just ridiculous. You have to be, okay, I don't want to be disrespectful here because I don't like talking down to people, but you have to be a pretty big idiot to actually think that's okay. To actually think it's okay for a company to feel like they should have the right to own your content or own like a sense of you yourself, right? That's a very big problem, and that makes me think of all these dystopian novels I read or I read even now. Like dystopian fiction is probably my favorite. Like Cyberpunk is a really great example of that. It's these giant corporations who take hold of people themselves and belittle them and turn them into nothing. You know, like I understand that like we are much smaller than any of this. That's very true, but that doesn't mean you should diminish us that much more. In this sense, YouTubers, we should not be diminished, and we should be able to retain our self-respect. Now, the other problem with this is the fact that if this is a successful program, then this could potentially perpetuate the issue, and this could then encourage other big companies to then decide, oh, well, maybe we should take on, you know, a program like this where we take part of the cut. Right, that's scary. That's really scary to be able to do something like that. And that can really be very detrimental for YouTubers who rely on the revenue they receive here. This is the same thing with ad block. You know, like people have the right, like viewers have the right to use ad block if they don't want to see ads, but you have to understand that a lot of the people who are working on making these videos, that's like they work hard. Like I can tell you for a fact, I work really hard to do what I'm doing for all of you right now. I make between 4 to 6 videos a week on 2 channels. I spend more than my fair share of time doing this. I don't get paid nearly enough to be able to do this. Like this is like more than a full-time job. This is like 60 hours a week. This is a lot. And it's not just me being on camera. That probably seems like the easy part. It probably seems easy for me to just be able to talk about all the things I love. But it's a lot more than that. For me, I see it in a much more journalistic view. I see it as something where I'm offering like an insider's view, something that I can provide for you, something that can be beneficial to you, right? And of course, there's all the stuff in the like behind the scenes that you don't see. You don't see how much time I have to spend on editing some of these videos. Sometimes that's like 4+ hours of editing. Then there's networking, and then there's branding, and then there's investing more money into the business in order to have it grow that much further. Like it's a lot of work, and I think that people try and simplify that, and they don't understand that, you know, like being a YouTube personality is just as much a job as, you know, being a programmer, or even working retail for that matter, or being a graphic designer, or anything, you know what I mean? Like you still have to take on responsibilities no matter what, right? It is your choice, you know, because like for a lot of people this is just a hobby, but if this is something where you are getting, you know, part-time or full-time pay from it, it is essential. And imagine if you don't do well enough on your channel because of ad blocks or because of programs like this, and then it affects the amount you receive to a point where you know, you can no longer afford your apartment, you can no longer sustain your family. That's scary. It's very scary. So I think that people need to be more considerate and conscious of these things, and I think that Nintendo needs to be more respectful of YouTubers themselves. This is very important to me, and this is something that I think a lot of people really need to take into consideration. So do think about that. I'm really interested in hearing what you have to say about it. I kind of wish I would have done like a separate video on this, but I'm not really the type of person to do that, and a lot of people already have done that, so I'm just leaving it for my weekly vlog. So yeah, that's the last thing I wanted to cover on here in terms of gaming. That was the most serious issue I wanted to cover, but something that I felt like was necessary, right? So yeah, I guess let's move on to anime. Let's go on to something a lot lighter. All right, anime. So Oh, geez, that was a lot. I really had to get that off my chest. Okay, so for anime, as you know, I have been doing a spotlight series of Satoshi Kon's works. Satoshi Kon is an amazing creator and someone who I really want to spotlight. So, you know, as you know, this past week I did my review of Tokyo Godfathers, and then I did my review for Perfect Blue, but this Monday I'm going to be doing my review of Millennium Actress, another really incredible work that I can't wait to review for you. So do stay tuned for that. Let's see, more content coming this coming week is Assassination Classroom Anime Impressions with me and Dakota. This took forever. Dakota, I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry, but it's been a really busy week and it's just been like, oh my god. I'll talk about this all more in my life section, but Jesus, it's been a busy week. It's been crazy, but you know, I can't complain. It's been good. So aside from that, anime-wise, I finished Tamako Market, Kyoto Animation's adorable, like so adorable, it hurts, 12-episode anime series. I want to buy the DVD now. Like on Right Stuff's website, I think it was like 45 bucks. So I'm like, I really want to own this. It's funny how like my taste in anime is so like polarized. I either really like psychological horror thrillers or anything like cyberpunk, and then I like the really cutesy stuff like the coming of age like Non Biori or Tamako Market, or yeah, it's like, it's weird. It's really, I don't even understand it. How my friends are like, this is really strange, Erica. Like, yeah, I know. And then aside from that, I guess the last thing I wanted to mention is that I'm trying to get media accreditation for this year's Anime North 2015, which is a very redundant thing to say considering it is 2015 and it is this year. But I'm trying to get that. Have I gotten media accreditation with them before? Yeah, I have. Yeah, and I think I will with this channel. Yeah, I did. I did last year, and then I think I did the year before for a print publication I was writing for. But yeah, so I'm super excited for that. I actually have a cosplay, Oh My Goddess cosplay thing I'm doing with my friends Eve and Steve. Really great. Steve is gonna be Beldandy, Eve is gonna be Erd, and I'm gonna be Schooled. So we gotta get our fabrics soon. So we're gonna be getting that this coming week, I think. We definitely need to get fabrics soon. But yeah, so I'm like crossing my fingers. I'm gonna be able to get media accreditation because the demand is incredibly high this year. This is a really big anime convention here in Toronto that happens at the end of May, and it's only getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's crazy. So I'm crossing my fingers. So I guess yeah, let's move on to Patreon, YouTube, and life. Alright, Patreon, YouTube, and life. So first I want to give a big thanks to Christian Feliciano, I really hope I pronounced your name right, and then Rylan Dodd. Thank you so much to the both of you for pledging to my Patreon. That really means a lot. I can't believe how well it's doing, how successful it's been. It's been awesome. So I have a lot of content coming up on Patreon actually. You know, as I mentioned before, I do exclusive blog posts on there. There's some things that I definitely want to blog about that I don't really want to talk about, you know, too widely. I want to keep a little bit more secretive, so I think I'll be posting those there. And then I also have my analysis series. I did my first one for the Zero Escape series, and the next one I know what I'm gonna do it on, but I can't tell you guys. I can't, but that's gonna be coming up in the coming weeks. I'm also doing another giveaway. I do giveaways every month. I did one for my Godzilla poster that I got from the PC Engine Works collection, because I got 2 of these really wicked Godzilla posters, so I did a giveaway. Because like on Patreon I do this thing where like if you pledge at least $1 a month to me, then you are entered into this giveaway, and I will give away some random thing every month. So this month, well yeah, this month, because I'm gonna do this at the end of every month, I'm gonna be giving away Shark's portable mini Bluetooth speaker thingy, which is really great actually. I got to test this out. So this is lightly used, but it was just for me to see how well it worked, and it works actually really well. I did a review some weeks ago on this other one I have, but I don't really need this one, and I'd rather give it to someone who really wants it. So anyone who is a patron on my Patreon is going to be entered into this, and then I'm going to be using like a a randomizer to pick the winner. So I'm going to be releasing a video separately on Patreon for that if you are interested in knowing. So, and you are watching this right now. But yeah, so I am, I'm like so excited. I love giving away things. I don't have too much to like where I have like extras of, but I always find stuff. I always end up finding stuff because I want to give back. That's one of the things that I love about having a YouTube channel and having my Patreon, is that gives me that much more chance to be able to give back. So yeah, there's that. Let's see, what else? I guess, yeah, let's move on to YouTube. For YouTube stuff, okay, so I'm going to talk about sharp objects because I can't really find a proper place to talk about sharp objects, although I feel like maybe I'm going to just put anime and movies together in the following weeks of my weekly vlog, because I really do want to talk about movies. I want to talk about them a lot, but I don't want to always just put them in YouTube because it doesn't really make sense to me, you know, like I want to talk about sharp objects somewhere else. So, because, I don't know, I feel like it fits the anime side of things too. So yeah, I did a review of A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, this really great Iranian vampire flick that I got to see at TIFF Lightbox this past week. Did this review, it was awesome, it was stylish, it was just a really great film. And I'm really happy that I got to do the review, and I'm really happy I got to see it here in Toronto. I was supposed to also release my top 20 horror films part 1, but I was running out of time, and doing these top lists, as I mentioned before, take a really long time. Not just picking what these movies are going to be, but also just in general. Like, it's a lot of work. Like, editing for these things is a lot of work. So I didn't get to do that, but I'm gonna try and do that for this week so I can finally get that. Now, the other thing I'm gonna be doing on Sharp Objects this week, whether it's Tuesday or Thursday, I'm still trying to figure that out, is do a review for another film that I just saw at the Royal Cinema, and that is Why Don't You Play in Hell? It's a Sion Sono film, who is known for probably his cult classic, Suicide Club, which was my first foray into his stuff, and then later Nariko's Dinner Table, and then Love Exposure. Really great films. I love his stuff, and this was just as amazing. Why Don't You Play in Hell was just incredible, and I can't wait to talk about it more this coming week, so do stay tuned for that. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, clearly I'm totally out of order this week. There's just a lot going on. But I got a bunch of movies I wanted to share with you all, actually, and this is just another reason for me to mix movies and anime together, because I think this will be so much easier than putting everything into like YouTube and that whole section. But I got some movies. I got Chopping Mall, which is a really great horrible film that I highly recommend anyone watch. I got all of these actually at either Sonic Boom, like Beyond the Black Rainbow here, which is a terrifying film. It terrified me the second time. It terrified me the first time. It'll forever terrify me. It's really good though. Or Suspect Video, which is a really great place in the Annex, worth checking out if you're looking for more cult cinema, more experimental exploitation cinema. Then we have Thriller, A Cruel Picture. So happy to finally own this. Such a good like revenge film. And then we've got Godzilla vs. Biollante, because I talked the hell out of this movie during my top Godzilla fights video on Sharp Objects, so it was kind of a necessary thing. And then there was like a big sale going on at HMV, and they had Snowpiercer on Blu-ray, so I was like, yeah, please. I actually haven't seen it yet. I'm probably gonna watch it tonight, which is actually Saturday. I'm gonna watch it tonight. I'm super stoked. I am so stoked for this movie. Maybe I'll do a review, maybe I'll do a DVD review, I don't know, but I'm like so excited. This and Millennium Actors are happening tonight, and I'm so happy. So in terms of life, things have been pretty good. Like I said, I've been really busy. I've been working 2 days a week at the game dev studio that I'm at, doing like script editing and community management work, and now I'm learning programming, and I'm trying to make an interactive fiction game, and it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff to take on all at once. I don't even know how I'm able to do any of this. I think it's like time management. I really do think it's all about time management. Hey, what the heck? You're not allowed to destroy my chair, Kaguro. Seriously, okay. But yes, I mean, there's that, and then there's making YouTube videos, and then there's also working 2 days a week at ANC Games, which I love. It really balances everything out. I gotta say, it's probably one of my favorite times of the week. Every week, Even if it means dealing with customers, I don't care. Like, I just have a really good time. And then aside from that, I'm also doing a lot of reading. I'm reading a lot, whether that's, you know, buying reference books on Python, or reading about video game storytelling, which I spent most of my week doing. But now that I'm done with that, I started working on some other things. Now, there's one book that I bought that I really wanted, something that I've integrated into my life for a long time now, and that is relishing creativity and incorporating that into every aspect of my life. So I got this book, Creative Confidence, by Tom Kelly and David Kelly. I am in love with this book. This really offers the fundamentals of unleashing a sense of creativity in your work life, whether or not you are working in a creatively driven space. Like, you can make any space you work in creative, whether you're a programmer or whether you are actually an artist or whatever. You know, there is a way to integrate creativity into your life. You could even be a doctor and be able to do so. There are different ways, and it really tells you on how to do so and how to do that kind of stuff, and how to change your perspective on life and the idea of creativity, because creativity isn't something that's always encouraged even when we're young. You know, maybe we had that sense when we were children and in kindergarten, and our imaginations were intense, but then as we got older and, you know, went to secondary school or like middle school later on, or high school, those things weren't encouraged as much, and in university they're not always encouraged as much either, unless you're doing like a degree in some sort of arts, right? But this really gives you a good perspective on the fact that creativity is all around us. It's been an amazing, like a very lovely book. I spent a lot of time reading at Indigo Books, and I can't wait to read more of it in the coming nights and the coming days and everything. So there's been that, and then I've also been reading this book because I've been dealing with a lot of anxiety. I think that this comes with me overworking myself, but it's just something that happens to me every few months. I get this very deep sense of anxiety and stress and fear and loss of control. So I've been reading this book, Retrain Your Anxious Brain. That's by John Sillimperis. Sillimperis? Really bad with last names. Really bad with last names. But this has been a really good book in terms of offering practical and effective tools for conquering anxiety. Anxiety is something I've dealt with for a long time, and sometimes I try and tell myself I'm just stressed, but it's much more than that. It's come to a point where, like, I've been dealing with this for far too long for this to just be that. And this book has really pinpointed some things that I didn't necessarily want to accept. So the other night I actually had a little bit of a breakdown where I realized that I felt like I was at square one again. I felt like, even though I know I'm not, even though I know I'm making progress with the way I'm living my life and the way I'm handling my anxiety, I'm acknowledging that. I just didn't really know what the source was. But then I started realizing certain things while reading this, and that was one, that while I am a very open-minded person in other facets of my life, when it comes to myself, I'm really horrible to myself. I'm really horrible to myself. I'm not very respectful of myself, and I set very high expectations. I have a very black and white mind in terms of my expectations of myself. So if I do not meet my goals, I bash myself to the ground. I'm an utter perfectionist in the things I do, and that's not just career-based, but that's also in terms of my personal life as well. And if things don't go the way that I aspire for them to, I crush myself. I just totally crush myself and make myself out to be like I'm an utter failure. And the same thing happens even when I don't have enough time to release a video in a week. Like, I get genuinely upset, and I get this sense of anxiety through that, like a very deep anxiety, like I have disappointed you guys, like I failed in some way. I can say the same thing in terms of relationships with people too. If things don't go, Kagero, what the heck? Oh my gosh, okay. My cat is being so bad right now. But yeah, so if it comes to disappointments in relationships with people, friendships, more romantic relationships, then, you know, it perpetuates the idea of myself and how I tend to belittle myself, right? Now, this is something that has been a part of my life since I was a child, and this is something that I think was unfortunately encouraged. Well, not like intentionally encouraged, but something that became a part of my life very early on, and that's because I lived in a very hot and cold environment. I lived in an environment where, while at times, yes, I felt very safe and warm and very happy as a child, I was also in a situation where I also dealt with a lot of fear and not knowing how I was and wasn't supposed to feel about myself, and whether or not I was loved or not. Like I had a big problem with inadequacy. I've had a very big problem with inadequacies for a long time, and I feel very inadequate still in a lot of ways, especially if I don't meet my own expectations. So this is something that I'm trying to tackle, and this book has actually been helping. Sometimes these self-help books are actually really detrimental because they unleash this part of yourself that you don't want to remember. But it's, you know, at the same time, I'm clearly not tackling something in my life that I need to if this scares me as much as it does, if I'm gonna break down the way I do, right? So I find this to be a good thing, and I actually feel a lot better after that breakdown. I think I needed it. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading more of this. I've clearly put a lot of bookmarks in here as well, and I'm looking forward to reading a lot more books this week too. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's life. That's a lot of stuff. Holy cow. This is gonna be a long episode. I'm sorry, guys. So that is this week's weekly vlog. I really hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry it was really scattered and disorganized and stuff, but there was a lot going on. I really look forward to hearing what your week was like, and yeah, tune in again very soon for lots more videos, okay? Alright, peace.